Cool. All right, AU. Just want to point something out at the moment as well that I'm sort of looking for on AU. Just want to mention this. So we're coming to a retest point on the 4 hour. That is kind of my next really good place to sell from because we're making these new higher highs at the moment. It's kind of tricky to be able to work with anywhere to sell from. We've got this break here and then this retest point. We're not too far away from it. I think we're probably what? All of like 30 pips. It's a reasonable jump for AU, but in terms of like our next really strong area, that's more or less it. So just keeping an eye on that point there. Ideally, we get over to that point, but yeah, we are very, very bullish at the moment. So we are due for a retracement, but if it keeps stepping up, that's kind of my next point, unless we create more structure from where it is now, that I'll ideally be looking to sell from. Brad's in a sell on AU as well that he'll do a case study on with the VIP guys. So he'll throw that in. But basically at the moment on AU, I'd like to keep buying it because it is very, very bullish and we're not really reacting out of anywhere. I know there's a bunch of wicks and that sort of shit over to the left. I haven't gone digging down in there. There may be something it's reacting from, but nothing significant. So given that we are very bullish, just broken this high, still working with that bullish price action at the moment. There was a sell that myself and both Alistair actually took as well in here today that I'll walk through in a moment. But really for AU at the moment, I do want to try and keep buying it, looking at inducing these lows here and seeing if we can try to get a buy up from there. It's not really like a medium inducement, like a 15-minute inducement, but it is a good amount of liquidity that we can take to see if we can get a reaction. There's obviously a 15-minute point here, probably a 30, maybe even an hourly point sitting here. It's really, really small though, so I'm not really looking for the mitigation of it. More so just the inducement of this, and I'll see what price does when it gets there. I'll just check that. All right, sweet. Yeah, more so just like see what it does when it gets there. In terms of, I guess, a better point to buy from, given that this was obviously the pullback that led to this break, we've got this demand point sitting down here. It's an hourly point, I believe, from memory. Yeah, got that hourly point and just covering the low with it. So yeah, we'll see what it does when it gets there as well. But given how bullish we are, it might not even get there. I don't want to be buying from anywhere inside of here just with these lows. And because we're so high up in this bullish range, it's just getting quite sketchy to keep trying to buy it. Although we do want to buy it, we just need some sort of an inducement. So see what price does when it takes this, or when it gets down here, or even when it comes and takes this low. Either three options are fine to look at. Just got to be patient and remember that we do have NFP today. NFP day is a lot of the time very, very choppy price action. So don't get caught in the shit. And then that sell earlier today was just inside of here. So like I said, the people that are in VIP will have that full breakdown. I've walked through exactly why I managed it the way that I did, why I went break even when I did, et cetera, et cetera. I went through a lot of detail with that trade. But those people who are in the starter group, just have a look inside of there and yeah, see if you can figure that one out. On EU, EU is more or less the same as AU. It's quite sketchy in terms of the fact that we're making higher highs. We're just in the middle of nowhere right now. So we don't really have anywhere to sell from besides this extreme point here. So that's the extreme of my hourly. Big thing we've got to remember though, here's a big break. This really whole thing here is a retest. So this point here, we can expect to be potentially induced. And it does make quite a lot of sense for it to be induced. However, it also makes a lot of sense for it to respect that point. So when we get here, regardless of the mitigation or the inducement, I will be looking for a sell out of that area. That's really my next point, unless we build a bit more structure like same sort of thing for on AU. In terms of areas we can buy from, we've got this supply here, very shit supplies that obviously didn't break anything. However, it did create this demand point here. I'll just check that. Would you sell out of that point as a short term to buy back up and induce? Are you talking about this point here? If so, yeah, I'm keen to sell from there and see what it does after that. Yeah, can definitely sell from there. Yeah, 100%. Can sell to buy. does make a lot of sense for price to give a strong sell from there, though, if it is going to respect that point. If it induces it, yeah, it'll probably give us like a bit of a reaction like this. Then we can obviously have the demand point to be able to buy from. But in terms of buys at the moment, yeah, looking for this supply to demand point. I've got that whole 4-hourly point marked out there, and yeah, see what it does. If it blows through that point, really, it's low. We can look to buy from there. We can look to buy from this point here. Again, though, it's the same sort of thing as AU. I don't really see it coming that far down. If it does, it's probably just going to melt, and I don't really see a point like this holding against all of this liquidity that we've got built up here and all of the selling pressure that we're going to have from all of that. So just going to be mindful of buys at the moment if we do retrace too far. When we're like this and we're just pushing so hard in one direction, we kind of want those shallow retracements. Just give us a little retracement, induce a little bit, buy, shallow retracement, buy, until we get a really strong sign of a bearish break, or that we are going to get those deep retracements. So we'll see what happens with it. But yeah, actually getting quite close to that point now on an EU. Only 10 pips, so we might actually get there for London.
Beautiful. All righty then. So GU, multiple approaches we can take with today. We still haven't taken this higher. I'm 99.9% sure this thing's going to get absolutely fucked at some point, and I want to target it. Okay, so with what it's done here, it's built up a lot of liquidity. You have to understand that it actually has got a possibility to just go bearish from here. It is a possibility. It's just very unlikely. This being a supply area, we've broken no structure, come up back to supply. We can go from here. Okay, it's not going to happen very often. So what I'm saying is this is just manipulating sellers in, just getting them all in, like here reaction, here reaction. It's just reacting out of this point way too many times. I just see this building up liquidity, taking retracement, taking, like, it's very good internal structure to the upside here. I do want to sell and take all of this crap out. I do want it all gone, but I need this gone first. Otherwise, we can't do that. So in terms of looking for a place to actually buy this up, multiple ways to look at it. So we've got this break of structure internally here. That's the retest. So you can take this and come out of this point and push up. This point is just so small and so minute. But as you saw yesterday, similar situation, it played out. Okay, so that is a point you can buy from. I would rather, personally, you've got this point here, which did take liquidity and create a move. Also very unlikely and doesn't hold a lot of value. The main point that does is this one, which has equal lows sitting underneath it. So as you get further down, it gets more likely that we're going to buy up. Like it could just do this and go up. Waiting for lower time frame confirmations with this inducement on timing, you could catch something. It's very unlikely, but it is a possibility. This point, I don't mind. If we're going to come into this point, I don't want to come deep into it because we've got those equal lows. And ideally, if I could, in an ideal world, exactly describe what I want to happen, take this low. But I mean, 42 pips, what it's moved in 2 days. So not likely. What we could look at is once it breaks this low and buys back up, you can also look for a sell, understanding the risk of what I just explained. At this point will more than likely not hold. Okay, so we're in a very, very interesting place on GU where every trade already holds a bit of risk because of what has been done and how indecisive the market is. I long-term want to target this point, but if we look on a higher time frame, but actually what's happened, we've taken this retest liquidity, which was our illegal liquidity, and we've come into a supply. So the likelihood of retracing from here deep into this range is actually quite high. That's why I want this gone and to look through here. We can also target this liquidity here, which is important liquidity, which lines up with EU. So GU, funnily enough, is probably the worst placed out of every pair at the moment, but it's got the best 15-minute range to work in. So what I will do is I'll have an alert here and I'll watch. I'll have an alert here and I'll watch. And I'll have an alert here and I'll watch. And all of them are valid to take in order to buy up. Every single one of them. It fits the momentum part of price, and it fits taking this liquidity out long term. But the higher up we buy, the more risk is applied. Okay, so this was clean because we're so low away from the supply. We were heading here as a minimum. Well, now we're here. So we're looking to buy while we have selling pressure on us. Okay, so you're already fighting sellers. Just makes it less profitable. So ideally, fuck this point off, fuck this liquidity off, look buyers here, look buyers here. If not, I would say we're going to take all of this liquidity and then it'll be news time. So it's definitely a London only day today, and it could just do this in London and we don't catch a sell and we get to just watch this thing melt. Looking at AU and EU to catch those sells. But like I said, reasonable place to buy, reasonable place to buy, reasonable place to buy. They all make sense. This point holds more value because this was a supply to demand. These ones aren't really anything other than just points in price that give you a minor inducement into a mitigation to then continue with momentum. You don't want to fight momentum. So when prices like this, you don't want to just try and sell because it should sell. Okay. So we all know that price isn't going to just do this. It's not going to just do this and long-term continue bullish in one big straight line. It's going to retrace. It's just when it's going to retrace, we don't fucking know. So you don't want to just try and catch sells the entire way up because what price will do is stop you out, stop you out, stop you, and just continue to do it. It's how the market moves. When you have a range like this, the market needs to build liquidity in order to continue to push up. So what it'll do, give them a little move down so everyone gets FOMO and starts taking sellers and just trap everyone in along the way like this. So it wouldn't surprise me if it did this and then just see you later and just stopped out everybody who was trying to get in sells and force something against momentum. So to look for sells the smart way, 15-minute break, look for sells. Okay. It just means we may not have a trade till next week on GU. It sucks, but it's part of trading. So be mindful of what's happening in price. You are 50-50 in two ranges, rating off a supply in a bullish range, in a bearish 4-hourly structural point. Okay, so just keep that in mind.
Sweet. Happy days to answer your question there as well, Kathleen, about what if we take the high first? Chances are it's probably just going to run. It's because if you think about it, right, so momentum right now is bullish. Where's my tool? We're bullish right now, right? So price is stepping down. It's obviously working its way up, right? So this, if it comes and takes this, given the momentum at the moment, given that we've got higher targets, it's more than likely going to be break a structure, not an inducement, just given where we're positioned. And also with how much liquidity it's been building up in this area, like Brad was saying, sellers taken out, sellers taken out, sellers taken out, sellers taken out, sellers taken out. It's more than likely just going to push through this. It's finally going to take all that liquidity and run with it. Rather than at the moment, if it comes down, potentially takes a low, goes higher. Like if we're stepping up at this, right, and we're bullish and we've got higher targets up here, and we come down and take this low, well, right now, there's no real reason for us to go bearish. That's why we get that quick price action side of here and it runs back to the upside. Whether on these ones, as we see all the time, when it takes a structure that's going with momentum above it, it sort of like dances around a little bit and does this and then comes down. It's really quite hard to catch the retracement on a breaker structure. So if it pushes through this, it's yeah, probably just gonna run and you'll find it doing that thing where it'll look like it's gonna set up and then it doesn't. And then it'll look like it's gonna set up and then it doesn't. And you sit here for like fucking an hour and a half watching 16 different minor inducements and you're going, God, is this thing ever gonna set up? And then it finally just melts and you don't get in. So yeah, just be mindful of that with with that eye.
Yeah. I would just trade with momentum. So something to look at,
Yeah.
Kathleen, when this takes this high, look for a continuation. Look for a continuation into our selling model. It makes sense. You can look for both. Understanding that the continuation actually holds more probability because of everything Dylan just explained. When you're this bullish, you don't need to take a lot of liquidity to continue bullish. It's fucking annoying, which is why this one was a hard one yesterday that I've walked through and will send through soon. It's why it's annoying because it literally takes the smallest bit of liquidity. We're used to seeing big reversals off of big structural liquidity takes. That's not the case at the moment. It's going to continue. When it reverses, you will catch a huge trade because you will catch the reversal with the proper confirmations and it'll be great because look at the range we have to reverse in. Like it's huge. But until then, you don't want to catch losses until that point. You don't want to ever catch the top or the bottom of a move. trying to catch that will fuck you. You will catch them every now and again. You want to catch price once it's created the bottom and moved up a little bit. You don't want to try and catch the bottom of the top. Awesome.
Sweet. Happy days. All right, guys. We will call it there and speak to you all soon.
Sweet.
See you.
Catches.